Welcome to the Double J podcast presented by Lake Central Media. Jack and Giovanni back. We've been gone for almost another month. We couldn't really do anything about that one. We had the huge polar vortex and the really bad weather, but we are back and better than ever. We've got a lot of news, actually. This could probably be the most news we've had on a show this whole year. We just ended the NFL season with the Super Bowl. College basketball is heating up as March Madness is approaching. The NBA trade deadline is this Thursday, and man, is the NBA looking good for once. And here we go, the NFL. And all of you guys know the Rams and Pats played in that Super Bowl, and we understand it was a very boring Super Bowl. The Patriots won 13-3 in a very defensive game, but I don't know if it was more of the defense or more of the lack of quarterback play. And our first thing is we want to talk about Jared Goff. Jared Goff has had a lot of, how do you say that? Child moments, I guess. He has showed up to play on occasions, and then there are just some games where he's just flat out terrible. Is he overrated, or is he the right? Is he the right, what they say about him? Or is he overrated?
I think this Rams team this year, at one point, everyone thought they were unbeatable until they lost to the Saints. I don't think Jared Goff is overrated. To get to the Super Bowl, he had to outplay Drew Brees in the NFC Championship game.
I don't think he outplayed Drew Brees, though.
To me, he did. He made the plays to win the game.
And so did the refs, but
well, we'll get to that one later. But Jack, I don't think he's overrated. I know you have some.
I think he is. I'm sorry, but the games where you need him to show up, he doesn't show up. And I'll go to the Bears game. I mean, he was just terrible. 4 interceptions, didn't even score a touchdown. You go to that Philly game, also he wasn't that good either. And then, you look at the past Saints game, he wasn't impressive. And then Sunday night, I don't know. Driving down the field, he's driving down the field, and what kind of pass does he throw when they're on the verge of scoring? And I want to go back to another play, the wide open Brandon Cooks play he had. He should have made that throw.
That's absolutely a catch Brandon Cooks also has to make too, and it ended up being so crucial because
he was wide open.
It might have been. I don't know if it was the next play. But the next play or a few plays later, he was intercepted.
The problem was Jared Goff was so late on that play, it allowed McCourty to get to him in time. So I don't think Jared Goff is the hype. I think he is overrated right now. And, this Rams team, like you said, they had a great year, but they also had their struggles. I just need to see more from Goff. I keep hearing some savior of Los Angeles. He needs to show that he actually is. And another guy who really didn't and hasn't shown up these last two games is Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley, he reportedly was nursing a knee injury. He was at the end of the year of the regular season as well. He had a couple of good one or two runs, but really the top 3 running back in the NFL did not show up in the Super Bowl.
No, he did not, and neither did the whole run game for the Los Angeles Rams.
No.
I thought that C.J. Anderson and Todd Gurley were going to have to make a big difference in this ball game if they wanted to beat the Patriots. They just didn't show up. C.J. Anderson kind of bursted onto the scene at the beginning of this postseason.
Yeah, against the Cowboys.
Yeah, that shocked everyone, I'm sure.
That did, actually.
He was, I believe he was on the Raiders?
He's been on a lot of teams. He was on the Panthers as well. He's been on a lot of teams, but he made his chance on the Rams as well.
And getting to the Patriots, they won this game. It's Bill Belichick's 6th Super Bowl as a head coach, and I do believe he has 2 other rings as an assistant coach for the Giants. Is Bill Belichick the GOAT of coaching?
I don't know. I really don't know. I do give him credit what he's done with Tom Brady. He's done a remarkable job, and you talk about the Super Bowls and everything. I just don't know. There are a lot of great coaches I know of. It's so hard to dictate that. He is definitely one of the greatest ever in my mind. I would give him a top 3. It's so hard because I have Lombardi as one of them. I think he's obviously one of the best. I honestly, I have Mike Ditka as well. I think Ditka's one of the greatest coaches. I think he is, but it's just hard.
We can go back and forth
Comparing
about that all day.
trying to compare coaches from, when Lombardi was coaches and to now. I mean, nothing's the same anymore. It's so hard to compare it. I mean, this is kind of like society thing with technology today and everything. Coaching's a lot easier than back then. So I don't know. It's close, but I don't give him that edge yet. He's an ambassador to the National Football League, and I hate the Green Bay Packers, but you still got to give credit where credit's due, but Bill Belichick is like a top 3 or top 2 coach of all time for me.
Well, the debate a lot of people go back and forth on is whether or not this dynasty by the Patriots, this incredible dynasty, is having to do more with Tom Brady being 40 plus years old and still
doesn't
being
look 40.
great.
Does not look 40 at all.
Or if it's just Bill Belichick. And I think the most impressive thing with this Patriots dynasty is, Jack, when was the last time they weren't good? When was the last time they weren't contending for a championship? It's been so long.
Probably the year before they let Tom Brady play, when Drew Bledsoe was quarterback.
And even the year that Tom Brady was hurt for the whole year. They went 10-6. Yeah, they missed the playoffs, but the Patriots were still a relevant team. This team has not had a bad season.
And the one thing I give Belichick is, the Patriots don't have any high-class players besides Tom Brady. You look at guys like Todd Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott, DeAndre Hopkins, Antonio Brown, Julio Jones. I mean, when you look at the Patriots roster, they really don't have any of those guys besides Gronk and Brady. I mean, in their backfield, they had Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, and James Devlin. I mean, these guys weren't even names last year, really. I mean, Burkhead made a little spark. And a receiver, Chris Hogan, he's made a little cut. Julian Edelman, who we know of. And then the defense, I mean, these are some of these guys that have just been forgotten about in the NFL. I mean, that's where coaching comes into play, when you've got guys who are just decent or, medium level of talent, and you allow them to develop into high-starring talent and let them play together and eventually win the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I mean, you give credit to Belichick on that because, these aren't high-class players. It's like in the NBA for Phil Jackson. He had Jordan, Pippen, Kobe, Shaq, and you know how many successful he was. I mean, look at Belichick. He's had Brady and Gronk. I mean, those are probably the 2 highest-named guys he's had. Maybe Randy Moss as well.
And speaking of Tom Brady, Jack, I know you're going to have a lot to say about this. How much credit does he really deserve for
his performance on the Super Bowl? Or in general, on like his whole career, or in the Super Bowl?
Just this particular game.
Not a lot. I don't think he deserves a lot. He had a decent game.
That's being nice.
It's decent. I mean, he literally lived off of Julian Edelman. It really was the defense that won the game. I mean, the Rams are the most dominant offense in my mind in the NFC, and the defense just shut them down. Tom Brady, he did make the throws at the right time, especially on that one touchdown drive to Edelman for a good gain, and he threw that one great pass to Gronk, which set him up in the red zone for the touchdown. But I also look at some of the drives. I look at the first drive of the game. He threw an interception right in the coverage, and I just didn't think he was that impressive. I mean, obviously, he's the greatest of all time in my mind now. Since that's 6, he has more than 30 NFL franchises. I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due, but I don't think he deserves all the credit or most of the credit for Sunday night's performance.
I think he deserves more credit than people are giving him, to be quite honest. Tom Brady has always played good, or not good, great.
Good enough to win.
But I'm saying in the fourth quarter of Super Bowls or just in general, he's
got a game-winning drive in all of them.
He's always put his team in a position to win the game.
And that's what makes you the greatest of all time. If you put your team on your back and you win it for them, and that's what he's done every Super Bowl, and even in just games in general.
And he did what he had to do to win. Now, I do have to say this, though. I do have a certain Patriots fan that I guess might listen to the show sometimes. I don't know. It's one of my cousins. He called them the GOAT based off this performance. And there's a lot of fans calling him the GOAT just based off this performance. I think that's dumb.
I don't think, not this performance, but his whole career, yes. But not this performance. I mean, I can name a lot of quarterbacks who've played better against the Rams than Tom Brady did. I mean, the Rams defense is not how do I say, a sight to be worried about. I mean, yes, Donald and Sue, but we've seen teams just dominate their defense all year. You go back to the Saints game, regular season, they dominated that. You go to the Chiefs, dominated that defense, even though they lost. So I expected more from Tom Brady at the end. I don't think he deserves really most of the credit. I really think the credit would have to go to Julian Edelman and the defense, because Edelman really stuck out his neck on that game. I mean, he had 141 out of how many yards of Brady's? 200 something.
Something ridiculous.
Now he's
like that.
What is he, next to Jerry Rice in yards in the Super Bowl or something like that?
It is quite insane. And Jack, can you believe that? How many weeks has it been? This topic is still relevant just because of how awful of a call this was. I'm sure you've all seen it. Rams-Saints NFC Championship game. The blown. That thing, I think that hit could have been called a lot of things.
New Orleans protested it on Super Bowl. They didn't watch it, I heard. They weren't really watching it. Yeah, look, refs are human beings. We know that. And we understand if a call is bang, bang, like, that's like that. But that was obvious. I mean, there were two calls on that. There's targeting and pass interference. And I'm going to go back to Sunday night where they called them unnecessary roughness for that hit when that was clean, but the hit on the Saints receiver wasn't clean. He literally lunges his head onto the receiver. And what we're trying to say is that they got to review these pass interference calls. And the ball wasn't catchable in my mind, really. And you could say, oh, it's not catchable because he hit it. And that's true. I mean, he was literally blasted off.
But still, the ball was not that close to coming yet. If you watch, I'm sure you've seen the video 1,000 times on TV from the fans' point of view. I saw a video of someone who was saying right there, took a video. The refs are in plain sight. There's I think there was 3 refs right there.
The thing is,
there's no excuse.
When you see it in regular time, you're like, how did they miss that? When you see it in slow-mo, you're like, what are they doing? I mean, in slow-mo, it just makes it even worse. Yeah, I'm glad they're trying to make that a rule now to start reviewing pass interference calls. I think that's a great rule because nowadays I really feel like if you touch a guy, well, I'm just saying in general, if you just touch a guy, they call pass interference sometimes. But yeah, that call like that, I'm not saying the Saints would have won the game, but when you're at the 5 or 7 with a minute left, you've got Alvin Kamara, and look who's the general of that offense. You've got Drew Brees, one of the greatest of all time, too. And you're going to tell me he's not going to get points on that drive? No.
Well, hold on. I don't think the Saints lost this game because of this. And hold on, before Jack gets, or before any Saints fans get mad, they had a chance to win the game in overtime. They got the ball first.
Yeah.
Drew Brees threw a pick. I'm not trying to hate on Drew Brees.
I know.
But the Saints had a chance to win this game still.
Yeah, and Drew Brees did remark that. He did say, you can make that call dictate the game, but at the end we had chances that we didn't take control of. But still, I think it's time we do start reviewing pass interference calls. I think it makes it a lot easier for the refs and for Roger Goodell, the commissioner, who's been getting a lot of heat lately.
Well, now transitioning to Major League Baseball. Interesting. I think this was during the Super Bowl. I saw this. Bryce Harper tweeted.
I'm tired of this stuff. I'm tired. Bryce Harper, just choose a team. And now I hear today there's a mystery team that has a good chance. I'm tired of this. Choose a team. People are reporting to spring training in next week or 2 weeks. Choose a team. I mean, if you're playing the odds game, it's the Phillies who have the best odds and the White Sox are second. But you've got to pick a team, man. Come on. Stop trying to lollygag and, and try to get more money. They're not going to offer you more money. I mean, they could care less if you don't play at all. They're going to keep their deal until you sign. I mean, it makes you even worse as a player if you're not even there to full spring training with that team at all.
I did not think, Jack, that this would go this long. I thought when you said that they wouldn't get signed until February.
I'm telling you,
that was ridiculous.
That's the problem with professional athletes this day.
Well, speaking of other highly touted free agents, Manny Machado is now reportedly only talking to the White Sox and Phillies. Can this just be over already?
Here's another guy. I mean, all signs are pointed to the Chicago White Sox. He there were a bunch of deals reported about the White Sox. His agent released that those were not true. His whole family almost is with the White Sox. His brother-in-law.
It all lines up perfectly.
And the guy, almost his best friend, who he works out as well with in the summer. I just don't know what's taking them so long. I would think you'd want to be there, talk with the new team, get them coped together. And an interesting thing about that, Tim Anderson said shortstop's his position. Now, if Manny Machado wants to play there, it could be a lot of heat. But Machado is more likely to go to third base because the White Sox are lacking in the third base position right now with Matt Davison now gone. So Anderson would, he's going to be a little timid. If Machado comes in, he just takes his position. But these guys just got to choose a team. It's been going way, way too long. And it's not just them. There's a bunch of other free agents as well that need to choose. So I'm not trying to pick on these two guys. Just in general, just choose a team.
But these are the two big ones.
You've got spring training coming up. Pitchers and catchers are reporting soon. I know you're hot shots and all, but you just got to be there. Come on. Just be there.
And people are going to sign these guys either way.
No,
so
we know,
I don't think
that, but
it does not matter.
This is reminding me of the Le'Veon Bell situation.
Well, the difference was Le'Veon Bell was signed to a team. He just chose not to play because they weren't giving him enough money. I know, but the thing is,
these guys just need to show up to spring training. Spring training's important. You might not think it, but it is.
It really is. And now let's transition to college basketball. Jack, we have about less than a month and a half till the start of the NCAA tournament.
That's crazy to think of.
And Zion Williamson, I'm sure you've seen highlights of him.
Yeah, he's
still tearing it up in case you're wondering.
He's definitely improved.
Yeah. And when you put this on the script, I was a little confused. I had no idea why you put it on here, but I saw that I think it was Scottie Pippen who was saying that he should sit the rest of the season and wait for the NBA draft.
I mean, if he does, nothing's going to change. I don't think he should, though, because...
No, I don't want to see that.
I mean, these are guys that are going to be... This is the future of the NBA as well. This is a very talented draft class, too, this year with RJ, Cam Reddish, Romeo Langford, J.A. Murray, Zion Williamson, like I just said. These are the boys you're going to be playing with in the NBA. And the NBA is no joke. I mean, these are grown men you're going to be playing against next year. I mean, he's going to be playing guys with LeBron, and trust me, no one's equivalent to LeBron in college. I mean, Zion would probably be the comparison, but no. I'd keep playing, and I'd also keep playing because Duke, we all know about Duke. We all know about Duke and the atmospheres they play in. This is going to get you ready for the NBA.
Yes, and come on, Jack. Who doesn't want to see Zion Williamson playing the?
I'm sure he's made over I'm sure he's raised Duke's ticket prices by so much this year. It's insane.
Yep. And speaking of the NBA draft, we mentioned that. We're going to talk about whose draft stock is down recently and whose draft stock is up.
So we're going to start with down first?
Yeah.
I'm going to get a lot of boos from this one. I'm sorry, guys. It's Romeo Langford. I
did not think of that when I was doing this list.
There's some IU fans I'm a friends of, and I understand they had a good win against Michigan State this past week, but
they lost to Rutgers.
They were on a 7-game losing streak, losses to Nebraska, Northwestern, Purdue, Michigan twice, Rutgers, like you just said. All I got to say is, if you're a 5-star recruit, you got to carry the team, even if you might be the only good player on that team. For Romeo, he is a great player. I'm not saying he's bad. But if we're going by whose draft stock went down, it's got to be Romeo. And if it's up, I just think it's Zion. I mean, we all know who he was, but that was high school Zion. But this dude is literally dominating college basketball by averaging about 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 or 4 assists. I think his stock went tremendously up. And right when he's done with college, I guarantee you Nike signs into a shoe deal. I guarantee it.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, we knew who he is good. We saw highlights, but he has been better.
Even I didn't imagine that he would be this good.
He's just been better. I just think if we're going to go in terms of maybe picks, from, whatever down. It's the guy from Murray State, J.A. Mount. He's now the expected to be number 3 pick in the NBA draft. He's definitely shown he can play. He's a number. ESPN has actually been covering Murray State lately because of it. He was a no-name, and he's come out of nowhere from Murray State. So I think if you're going in terms of pick-wise, him. But if you're going of who's just impressed us all, it's Zion. I mean, high school is easy to dominate. College, who would you think the last person we saw like this in college?
It's been a long time.
I mean, I don't know. Vince Carter, maybe? I can't really think of anyone. This high-flying, electrifying player.
Yes, indeed. And I guess I'll give my takes on whose draft stock is down first. Bol.
Yeah, he's out for the year.
Yep, he's at Oregon. I actually watched an Oregon game at the beginning of the year just to watch him.
I think he plans to enter the draft as well.
Yes, he is entering.
He was a great player.
Yes, I only think his stock is down
because he's injured.
Yes, yeah. And another Duke player that's not named Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett. I think people forget how good he is.
Yeah,
sometimes.
And I'm gonna go to last year. Marvin Bagley. He was a great athlete, and there was also Wendell Carter who was also good. But you're living in the shadow of Marvin Bagley. But yeah, R.J. Barrett is the number 1 player. Well, he was ranked the number 1 player. But yeah, you're right. People forget the Canadian sharpshooter. I mean, you're right. I don't know why people forget about him. If anyone forgets anyone, it's Cam Reddish.
That is true. Can you believe he's the 3rd best player?
I heard this on a talk show. Look at Cam Reddish right now. He's probably not impressing much people. Imagine if he was on like Syracuse or Notre Dame. Imagine how good he'd be.
He would be.
That's the thing, and that's what you got to think of if you're a scout. How good would he be by himself? Not with other people, because other people just take his talent away.
Well, unfortunately, he did pick Duke, but other people.
He might win a national championship.
This is true, and talk one more topic on college basketball. LaMelo Ball.
It's officially ranked in ESPN's recruiting class, number 13.
I just want to say this. I truly do kind of feel bad for LaMelo Ball in a very weird way. He will probably have maybe the most pressure out of any.
He's got a target on his back, and he does already in high school.
Yes, he's at a Spire Academy, I think.
In Ohio,
Yep.
No, next greatness in Cleveland.
Yep.
But
I just feel bad for the guy, to be honest.
Honestly, I've heard only a few low schools want him. It's just, schools think about his dad. And I understand his dad can be a loudmouth. But hey, he's going to bring you money. He's going to bring you money.
But his dad is already trying to dictate where his son Lonzo Ball is going to get traded. We'll get to that.
But the thing is, LaMelo Ball is an exceptional basketball player. He's played overseas. He's one of the youngest. He was the youngest professional, and people see that as a problem. We assume he's eligible with being officially ranked.
I still don't understand how he is, but I guess he is.
The only way, if I'm being like a I don't know, economist, it'd be like probably his dad just pocketed all the money, maybe something like that. I really don't know how that works.
Me neither. Man.
But
the NCAA rules make no sense.
We look forward to seeing him next year. He's gonna bring a lot of hype to college basketball
wherever he goes.
Yeah, I mean, wherever he goes, ESPN's gonna love that team. We know that one.
Oh yes. And LeVar Ball, he'll be at every game.
Which is nice to see. He's a good guy. He's not bad.
I never hate. Listen, I've always admired him.
He might just have opinions. That's it. He just has opinions like everyone else does.
We'll get to more about the Ball brothers later, but now it's time for fact or fiction. I think we have some good ones this week. The Lakers will miss the playoffs. They're currently sitting at the 9th seed in the Western Conference.
I can't see it.
Me neither.
I can't see LeBron missing the playoffs.
Me neither. Think about an NBA playoffs without LeBron James.
Then we'd see one of those flashback graphics on SportsCenter when we saw cell phones.
And what would ESPN do if they didn't have LeBron James in the playoffs?
They'd probably go to Giannis.
And I like to correct myself. They are 10th in the Western Conference.
Yeah, they just lost to the Warriors, actually. They were in that game. They just failed to win.
LeBron James did not play in that game. He did not play in the last game against the Golden State Warriors. And Jack and I have talked about this one 1,000 times on and off the air, through text, through in person. I didn't even write down notes for this. The NFL is rigged.
Absolutely. I'm gonna speak in existence right now. Look, it's just funny how everything goes the home team's way. I'm going home teams. I always say it's more towards the Patriots, which it is. But it's just funny when they compare penalty flags, and you got the home team with only 1, and you got the away team with like 9. I just think it's a money game, and I go all the way to the Patriots and Falcons game, and I think that's when it became noticeable. You know, it's 28-3. Who wants to watch the Super Bowl? And then all of a sudden, here comes Brady. All of a sudden, flags are flying. I'll go to last year's AFC Championship with the Jaguars and the Patriots. I also think that was rigged. I think the Saints and Rams game was rigged. I think it was. I truly do think it was. I think the Chiefs and Patriots game was rigged. I was so upset at that roughing the passer call. Like, that was the worst call I've ever almost seen, other than that pass interference. He touched his shoulder. And then I don't know if this is just like a mental problem, but D. Ford, or I think that's his name, what are you doing? Lines up off sides, the game-winning interception.
It's not like his hand was barely over the line. Like if you
what?
look at the picture, he's all he's all across the line of scrimmage.
I really don't think I think he did that. There's no way he didn't know. He had to do it on purpose.
If you look at a series like
it's just terrible. How do you do that? But I think it's rigged. I do think it's a money game. I really do.
He did the same thing in the Pro Bowl too.
I just think it's rigged. I really do. You know.
I'm gonna go fiction. I'm gonna go through all those games that Jack mentioned. What'd you start off with? Patriots Falcons, I think it was.
Yeah.
Where it started to become evident. Okay, so Jack, you don't think it's possible at all?
No, I'm not trying to decredit Tom Brady from his greatness, but it's just funny how flags are trying to fly out of nowhere, and everything is going their way. That's what I'm saying.
So it can't be that the Patriots defense finally stepped up. They even strip sacked Matt Ryan.
It's funny how they finally step up 28-3 when I got the call from Roger Goodell.
I just don't understand why so hold on, let me ask you.
Like I said, I wasn't trying to discredit the Patriots. I'm just saying it's kind of funny how everything goes their way when everything's going wrong.
All right, let me ask you this: if there were a lot of people complained about the overtime rules.
About the touchdown?
Yeah, so the Patriots, they got to the Super Bowl because in the AFC Championship in overtime they got the ball first.
I don't think that's why they made it. I think they made it because of that final drive. But that was the final drive, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
You mean the one in regulation?
No, I'm talking about the rough in the pass. That was overtime. Okay, my bad.
But anyway, back to that Falcons game.
I don't really blame the coin toss. I mean, unless you have both sides head or both sides tails, that'd be the only way. But the calls they made.
I'm shocked you haven't.
The calls they made that drive are just absurd. I just couldn't stand it. It just seems that when everything's going wrong for the Patriots, here comes the flag, here comes the laundry. Roger Goodell's looking up.
And one thing about the Patriots, they're the least flagged team in the league. They're by far the most disciplined team in the league. Does that not have anything to do with it?
They're only flagged when they're losing. That's the problem. They're only flagged when they're down and they need some help. Like I said, not trying to discredit the Patriots for anything, but they do get lucky, and I think the NFL is rigged because of money. It's Roger Goodell running this league. That's when you know it's a problem. Roger Goodell is the worst.
Jack is not a big Roger Goodell fan, in case you didn't know.
No one is a Roger Goodell fan. You cannot name one person that is a Roger Goodell fan other than the Patriots.
Colin Cowherd's a pretty big Roger Goodell fan.
And I don't understand why. He is terrible at his job. I just don't understand. He's just terrible.
Well, I think we should move on from this. Sticking with the NFL, the officials from the Rams-Saints game will never ref another game again. I really hope not.
No, they shouldn't. That crew should be fired and not be able.
I don't like.
And not even be able to ref Pee Wee football. That was terrible.
No, and I don't like saying that people's jobs should be called for because at the end of the day,
they should.
Oh, that's bad.
That was bad.
Any other business, if you make that bad of a mistake, you lose your job.
That was terrible.
Now, I don't agree with people. There was one of the refs was reffing college basketball. I guess they do that too. They were getting kind of.
I never agree with these refs.
Yeah, they were getting a little bit harassed. I think that's wrong. No.
I think throwing stuff at him is wrong, but if you're not doing your job, get fired.
All right.
That's my thing. Do your job. That's it.
All right. Julian Edelman is a Hall of Famer.
No. Okay.
I'm glad we agree.
I'm gonna state this, and then you can state it. Yes, he did carry the Patriots in my mind, but let's not forget this dude was suspended this year for performance enhancement drugs.
If this was baseball, there would be an uproar about him even getting Super Bowl
Stop.
MVP.
He's not a Hall of Famer. Name one time he led the league in touchdowns.
Name one time
He led the league in yards. How many Pro Bowls? How many All-Pros? He is not a Hall of Famer. Not even close.
He's only had 2 seasons where he's gone over 1,000 yards.
I don't think
He's not great. He's
I
not
don't
very
even
durable.
think he's close to it yet. I really don't. I think Odell Beckham might have done more so far. And he's been hurt. But no, Julian Edelman, no. You've done drugs. You've had, how many was it, 1,000 yards? Just because Tom Brady helps you win Super Bowls doesn't mean you're a Hall of Famer.
No. I believe it was Nick Wright was comparing the careers of Deion Branch and Julian Edelman.
I heard about Hines Ward compared to Julian Edelman.
No.
Yes, I heard that. Yeah. Exactly.
That's ridiculous.
That's stupid. I just can't take it.
Paul George is the best player in the Thunder right now. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
Yes, that's a fact.
Paul George has definitely stepped up this year. He's definitely, and I was thinking about this actually the other night. If there's a sleeper team in the West, that's the number 3 seed right now. The Oklahoma City Thunder.
I don't think they can go far in the playoffs.
I don't know. They got a good team, and look, Russell Westbrook. I'm pretty sure he's averaging another triple-double, but he cannot shoot the ball. He takes 30 shots a game. Give it to Paul George some more. He can hit his threes. I think Paul George is definitely the best player.
Russell
in the
Westbrook
Thunder.
is overrated. I'm sorry. He's awful late in games. Did you see against the Celtics?
Turned it over. Yeah.
It's awful.
He's just a fast guy that gets inside. That's it. And he steals rebounds. I always say this. If Russell Westbrook wasn't on the Thunder, how many rebounds does Steven Adams average? 14.
Too many.
I think 14.
And let me just put a fun fact out there for you. In the 14 best games Russell Westbrook has had this year, the Thunder are 500, 7-7. The 14 best games Paul George has played, they are 12-2. Paul George is the best player in the Thunder.
Yeah, you're definitely right there. I mean,
all right. So, yeah, I don't understand how people...
Yeah. It's just a triple-double sometimes, Get you in the head.
Yep. All right. Zion Williamson,
No.
Cam Reddish,
I already see this. No.
and RJ Barrett would all start on the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Hey, remember, guys, you remember when you said Alabama would beat the Cardinals or something, and they got killed by Clemson? I'm going to do a mini rant right now. I am tired of people comparing college athletes to professional athletes. Look at Alabama. Oh, they would be so good, and they'd beat a team in the NFL. They got squashed by Clemson. Don't even tell me that they would beat.
That is, to me, that's the dumbest argument.
I'm tired of hearing teams being compared and players in general. Let them see what they do. I don't think any of them would start on the Cavs. And they're great players.
You don't think Zion would start?
No, because he doesn't know what it's like to play in the NBA right now. I think Zion, when he gets drafted, he's going to play 2 games off the bench or on the bench. He's going to come off the bench, and he'll start for the rest of the year. The NBA is different from college basketball. And I've actually asked someone that, Glenn Robinson. I've asked him about that, actually. And he said that himself. He kind of got blindsided by it. He was not expecting it to be that physical and that tough. And he's not a bad player, but still. It's not the same as what people think. That's my problem.
Although, I do have to say, this starting lineup for
It
the Cavs
is bad.
is awful.
It is bad, but it's...
But no, Rodney Hood would...
He got traded. He's on the Blazers now, actually, Trailblazers.
Really?
Did trade him.
In the most recent starting lineup, he was in there. So.
Yep, this trade happened on Sunday. Recent.
Their last starting lineup I'm looking at right now is from Saturday.
Yeah, so Sunday.
CD has been Con Sexton.
Yeah, they beat the Lakers, too, don't forget.
Yeah. Is that really much of an accomplishment anymore? All right, last one of Fact or Fiction. This has been a little bit of a long one. Kyrie will team up with LeBron in LA again.
I'm tired of this thing being popped up. Kyrie's going to New York. I'm calling it. Next year.
Why would anyone want to play for the Knicks?
Because Knicks have 2 max contracts, and they're aligned for the number 1 pick.
They're also the worst
Imagine
franchise
this.
in the NBA.
It is 2019, 2020 season. We are in the Madison Square Garden on that Thursday TNT opener. Dennis Smith Jr., Zion Williamson, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and a center. I don't know who, but just imagine that. That'd be awesome.
Well,
And then here we go, the NBA. Anthony Davis. This has been a while, but we're going to go right into it. Yesterday, there was the trade that kind of shocked a lot of people. Anthony Davis was the Lakers offered the Pelicans Anthony Davis, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, Lance Stevenson, Rajon Rondo, Michael Beasley, and 2 first-round picks.
And the Pelicans would give up Anthony Davis and
then the Pelicans responded, they want 4 first-round picks. Okay, I need to talk about the trade we just said. What is Magic Johnson doing? Like, you're going to give up your whole team, the whole future of the NBA. Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and Kyle Kuzma are all expected to be NBA starters in 2 years. In 2 years, I say. And you're going to get rid of 2 first-round picks, another part of the future, where the Pelicans can get a center because they need a center in my mind. What are you doing, Magic? Are you really that scared of failing as a Magic's GM because you don't get another star? You have 1 max contract left. Wait. Do not give all these guys up for Anthony Davis.
Or you can wait till next summer
and sign him. But I don't think they want to. But no disrespect to Anthony Davis. He is one of the best power forwards in the NBA. Yes. But he is not worth half of your basketball team and 2 first-round picks.
But the argument that's been made is this. Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, and Brandon Ingram. I think Kyle Kuzma will be a great player.
If all those guys get traded to the Pelicans make the playoffs, they'll be a top 3 team in the West next year.
That's bold. But
it is, because these guys are not bad. They're actually good. We saw Kyle Kuzma definitely step up this year. We've seen it. We've seen Ingram step up at times. Lonzo Ball, he can't shoot, but he's definitely one of the smartest players in the league. Don't give that up. Don't give it up.
Well, one thing here. Do you know if any of these players, or Anthony Davis is a top
But I know,
player?
but you don't get rid of half of your team for 1 player.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I mean, can you imagine what the Lakers' starting lineup is going to be if they make this trade?
I'm going to try to get this. Josh Hart.
LeBron, Anthony Davis.
And they're trying to trade Caldwell Pope for Jabari Parker. So we'll put Caldwell Pope. So we'll put Hart, Caldwell Pope, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and JaVale McGee. That is worse than the team they started with.
Now, what their bench would
bench would plummet. They would probably have to sign guys like Jimmer Fredette and Lamar Odom. Honestly, I don't know why they would send that trade. Good thing the Pelicans didn't accept it yet. But
I don't think the Pelicans will.
One trade I am happy about, the Knicks and Mavericks, after Porzingis expressly said, I do not like the culture here, he got traded 30 minutes later to the Dallas Mavericks to pair up with one of his good friends, Luka Doncic. The Mavericks sent Dennis Smith Jr., DeAndre Jordan, Wesley Matthews. I think that was it, right? And, yeah, I really don't remember the whole thing. And the Knicks sent Kristaps Porzingis, Trey Burke, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Courtney Lee. This is a great deal for the Mavericks. Now, Porzingis did say yesterday in the press conference he doesn't really expect to play this year. But this team is something next year.
It really is. I think this is going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Their 2 best players, who are not bad, are on rookie contracts.
That is true.
Porzingis and Doncic on rookie contracts. They got rid of DeAndre Jordan, who was their biggest contract. Spend some money. Get Kawhi or something. I mean, they can ball out next year.
Yes, they can. And, well, Jack, do you think Anthony Davis gets traded before the deadline?
Look, we have 2 days. And
this is going to be a crazy week in the NBA.
The Pelicans GM is being a little kiddish, I should say. I mean, what the Lakers are offering them is something amazing, and I think you should take advantage of that.
I don't think he wants to trade with the Lakers.
The
Lakers are going to give him an incredibly stupid offer.
You know what would be interesting? You know how they choose teams in the All-Star game, right? What if LeBron and Anthony Davis are on the same team?
That could be interesting.
But I don't think anything will happen. I think the Pelicans, they want too much for him. And, okay, we just said Anthony Davis is one heck of an athlete. We can all agree on that. But 4 first-round picks, really? They won second round, but come on. I understand Anthony Davis is good, but 4 first.
He's not worth that.
I wouldn't give him that. But in the Lakers, it's not like they need that one star to win a championship. They need 2 stars. And also NBA news, I know we didn't put it on here, Klay Thompson has told people he expects a max contract from the Warriors. Now, you know who else wants a max contract from the Warriors? Kevin Durant. So this is how it goes in my world. Klay Thompson, if you get a max contract, you say goodbye to Kevin Durant. He's on the Knicks. Kevin Durant, if you get a max contract, Klay Thompson, have fun with the Lakers. That's how it's going to go for me.
And isn't DeMarcus Cousins only on a 1-year deal with the Warriors?
Something like that. And it's short, and he might want more. Like I said, no matter if the Warriors go undefeated for the rest of the year and win the finals, this is the end of the Warriors.
Well, I think we've been hoping for that for a little bit.
And now we are back to the Double J list. And we are going to go NFL season over, and they already have odds for the Super Bowl. Obviously, let me look at this actually. The top 4 teams, the Patriots, Saints, Chiefs, and Rams, all at the same odds. You know, basically, you know, you can respectably agree with that. You've got the Chiefs at 7-1, the Rams at 8-1, the Chicago Bears at 10-1, the Patriots at 10-1, the Saints at 10-1, the Steelers at 12-1, and here come a lot of weird teams. The Steelers at 14-1, who don't know about their future. The Packers at 16-1, who spent all their money on Aaron Rodgers, and the Vikings at 18-1, who spent all their money on a quarterback who was overrated. But right now, we're going to go with our top 5 NFL teams. I guess we're going in order. I'll go first. First, it's the Saints. I think they're mad. They want vengeance for what happened. I got to go with the Saints. This could be Drew Brees' last year. He's got the weapons. He's going to ball out, I think. Number 2, I think it's the Chiefs. I think if they can find somewhat of an ideal defense, maybe, their offense is already incredible. I mean, there's nothing else we could say. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was amazing. I mean, you can't ask anything more. Number 3, I think it's the Patriots. I do think this team, I don't know where they get it from. I really don't know where they get it.
And they don't show any signs of stopping.
Number 4 is the Bears. I really think, you know, how the season ended is not how people should remember the season. You know, they did lose Vic Fangio, which is going to have a great year at Denver, I think. I think he's going to do a phenomenal job. They did bring in Chuck Pagano, who has a lot of experience in the playoffs. He's won a Super Bowl, actually, the defensive coordinator, and has been a head coach, so I think that was a great signing by them. The only big loss, if they don't sign anyone back, would be maybe Bryce Callahan. I mean, their biggest free agents are probably Bryce Callahan and Adrian Amos. Then they don't know if they want to invest in Amos, but Callahan is definitely their top priority. And the rest of the guys are there till 2021. Another thing is, it'd be interesting to see what Trubisky is up to, because it's year 3 for Trubisky and year 2 under the Matt Nagy offense. And, you know, Trubisky did struggle at times, especially that Rams game coming off that injury from the Vikings. But I think this is the year, you know, Mitch can step up. I do want them to get maybe another receiver, and I do think they sign Kareem Hunt. I really do think the Bears will sign Kareem Hunt. Number 5, I give it to the Rams.
Wow,
and I ranked the Bears over the Rams because the Bears beat them. But I think if you're looking at progress, it's the Bears who are going to have better progress because, look, the Rams are going to be losing some guys, and they got a lot of old guys on that team too. The Bears didn't have one over 30-year-old player this year, really. And the Rams have a lot of those.
And who knows? Maybe if the Bears sign an actual kicker,
They did. Redford Jones, who's actually hit the double doink before. I do want them to sign Robbie Gould, though. I think he wants to come here, but, you know, the relationship he has with Pace is not good because that was one of Pace's first moves, was cutting Robbie Gould. It'd be great to see him.
I don't think people talk about that a lot.
No, they don't. And it was, you know, obviously it was a great move at the time because it saved us money, but it was a terrible move. Oh, such a terrible move. But, you know, I'd love to see him. He wants to come back. He was at the Bears game himself. He was in Chicago. I think he has a house or an apartment in Chicago as well. So, you know, I think the Bears would be over the Rams. I think a lot of teams. Honestly, if I had to give like a team that might come out of nowhere, Cleveland Browns. I'm riding high on the Browns. I'm going to be riding high on those Browns this year.
As you were last year.
They do have I think the most money in free agent or cap space. Who knows? Maybe they sign some. They need one more receiver, Golden Tate. Maybe they sign a Tyrann Mathieu. Maybe they sign a Zeke Ansah or DeMarcus Lawrence. If they can get those guys, I'm telling you, the Browns are something next year. I think they go 10-6 right now.
Free agency is going to be interesting, and
it is.
That division, the Steelers, I don't think this is going to be as good as.
I think that is going to be a great division. I think you've got all Steelers, Ravens, and Browns now in competition. This is awesome.
It's great for the NFL and the AFC North.
And kind of at the end of the year, we almost got to see that too, with the Browns almost having a chance, but it was a very long shot. But we almost had the chance to see it happen. And I think this is the year we get to see it unfold.
Well, now for my top 5 teams going into next year, obviously, a lot can change. We still have the draft, free agency.
What are you talking? Wait, you're going number 5 right now? For your top 10, who are your top 5 teams? Who's number 1?
But I'm saying, my point was right now that doing this list, a lot can change in the next few months. But this is just
a lot can change with the draft and injuries, and trades. Honestly, I mean, who would have thought Khalil Mack would have got traded to the Bears?
But my point,
if you were last year today, would you ever send Khalil Mack to the Bears?
Was John Gruden the coach yet?
I think he was. Who would have sent Amari Cooper to the Cowboys? No one would have thought this. So, like you said, anything can happen.
Exactly. So my point is, this list is not exactly set in stone and could still change depending on.
I just went off of like this past year and how teams look, and a lot of teams are staying the same because you look at the free agency list. It's not like, oh my gosh, Antonio Brown's in the free agents list, even though he could be traded.
All right. So number 1, I got to put the Patriots there. Tom Brady and the Patriots are not going anywhere. They've now won 6 Super Bowls.
Do you think age could factor it?
Tom Brady hasn't shown any. This year, he definitely showed signs, and honestly, it wouldn't be that much of a surprise if he maybe. I don't know. This year, he kind of stumbled a little bit, and he struggled, and people like myself started to question.
The Patriots did stumble a lot this year.
They did, but to me, as long as they have Belichick and Tom Brady, they're always going to be in a position to contend.
Here's my. I just want to ask you a side question. Do you think? Let's say Brady retires, just out of nowhere. What about Gronk? What if Gronk retires? What if Brady retires? And
Brady already says he's not retiring.
And I don't know, but my point is if Belichick is the coach, do Patriots make the playoffs?
Wait, if Belichick is the coach?
If Belichick is the coach and Brady retires, do the Patriots make the playoffs? That's the question.
Why would Tom Brady retire?
No, I'm just saying, like, what if?
I mean, that's kind of a silly hypothetical in my opinion, but
I'm just saying, just what if? Gronk might retire too?
It might be interesting. I'm not sure who their backup is right now. Hold on. If he retired before the draft, they would get someone in the second round or in the first round.
A tight end, you think? There's not that many tight ends really in the college football this year. I don't know. I only know one tight end. He's from Notre Dame. That's it.
Yeah. But anyway, continuing on with the Patriots, they have over 10 draft picks in this year's draft. This team is only going to get better, and they practically have another draft pick, an extra one, in Isaiah Wynn, who was supposed to be their starting left tackle. He was their first-round pick. Mm-hmm. He'll be back next year. We'll see what they do with Trey Flowers and Jason McCourty being free agents this year. But I don't think it's unrealistic to think Tom Brady and Bill Belichick can get another Super Bowl together.
It's a great story, though, those twins. Great story.
Number 2, I have the Saints. To me, they should have been playing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they should have.
They were one bad call away from being in it. I think they're going to look for some revenge next year, as you said.
They were on a roll this whole year. They lost 2 games. And one of the games they lost, all the starters weren't even in. The only game they lost was the what game did they lose? Saints. They lost
the Cowboys.
Cowboys,
yes.
Which was a close game.
Number 3, I got Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is incredible. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think he'll be as good as he was.
That's what I don't think he will be either.
Because it was basically his rookie year, and no one knew what to expect out of Patrick Mahomes. Did you expect him to throw 50
Just
touchdowns?
know this: if he's looking the other way, don't go that way. Go the other way because he does those no-look passes like insane. So if he's looking right, go left because he's gonna probably throw it that way.
And now people have an off-season to watch film on him.
And I really don't think that's going to help teams. I really think he's just going to amaze us. But I don't think he's going to throw 50 touchdowns again. That's only happened, 3 times?
No, I believe it's Manning who did that.
Manning from the Broncos, right?
Yes.
Has Brady done it?
I don't think so. I might be wrong on that.
I feel like Phillip Rivers for some reason. I just got the Phillip Rivers, thing in my head,
All right, number 4. I ranked the Rams pretty low too. I put them at 4 because it seems like whenever a team in recent memory loses to the Patriots in the Super Bowl, they
fall.
have a bit of a hangover. Falcons and Seahawks did both make the playoffs, but they struggled.
Remember the Seahawks. About to say that actually. Yeah, you're kind of right there actually.
Yep. And
Tom Brady effect.
The Rams, I think they might struggle. The 49ers and Cardinals are not going to be awful again.
And if 49ers can land Antonio Brown, like odds are saying, hey, Jimmy G, AB, maybe Le'Veon Bell, George Kittle, hey, that's not a bad team.
And they still have to play Russell Wilson and the Seahawks twice a year.
And which is a tough team to play.
It's not an easy road for them to get back to the Super Bowl.
And Arizona Cardinals.
And number 5. Jack saw this and he
That's not a good one.
Indianapolis Colts. All right, so it's the first offseason in so long. I can't remember the last offseason where there wasn't a question of who's going to be the coach. Is Andrew Luck healthy?
3 years ago? Who was the coach 3 years ago? Pagano? He's still Pagano, okay.
And Ballard and Frank Reich are here to stay. It's basically set in stone.
And Jim Irsay.
Jim Irsay is the owner of the team. I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
I think Frank Reich is going to have a great future with Andrew Luck. He's entering the prime of his career. The Colts have I think they have 2 second-round picks this year. Might be wrong about that, but Chris Ballard is great at drafting. If he gets another, I think, Jack, you're gonna think this is ridiculous. I think they had the best draft class.
It's arguable, I would say, because
he drafted 2 All-Pros.
That's the thing. It's arguable with Darius Leonard and Quinn Nelson, who was, of course, was going to be a stud. Look where he's from. But the Darius Leonard, that shocked a lot of people. So I think you can argue they had one of the best. I actually saw something on the Twitter. It was like the 3 best draft classes were the Bears, the Colts, and the Chargers. So it's arguable. I mean, the Bears had a great draft class too. So did the Chargers with Derwin James, who was also a stud. It's arguable, I think. I also like to say the Browns as well.
And the Colts also have the second most cap room in the NFL.
The thing is, will they spend it?
We'll see. I think they can go out and sign someone big.
My brother is a Colts fan, and I asked him, actually. The thing he said is, Le'Veon Bell is not going to come to the Colts now because of how Marlon Mack rose out of nowhere. That's what he told me. And I actually agree with that. Because why spend when you got something for cheap?
But you just never know, and I don't want Le'Veon Bell.
If I'm being like a Colts expert, I would sign Golden Tate. That would be your biggest priority. Sign Golden Tate. I mean, going on.
They do need some receivers. They do need another
if you
pass
saw the
rusher.
end of the AFC divisional game, the wide open pass drop by the receiver. I mean, that just sums it up.
I think the Colts led the league in drops this year.
And I mean, that was how it was for because I know the Bears. That's how they were. 2 years ago with Trubisky's first year, they had receivers like Bellamy, Dontrell Inman, and it was tough to watch. So yeah, I mean, it stinks for the Colts to have that like that, but. For power rankings, all our teams were in there. But the only team that was in there that we didn't mention in the top 5, the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers were 5, the Bears were 6, and the Colts were 7. So kind of our teams were just around the power rankings as well. Just didn't mention the Chargers as well. We want to thank you all guys for tuning in. We'll be back next Tuesday. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at the Double J Podcast. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, Double J Podcast. We all thank you all for listening to the Double J Podcast, presented by Lake Central Media. Have a nice night, everybody.